Division in Java can get a little bit tricky, and this is because of integer division. Integer division means that if both operands are of type integer in a division operation, the result will also be in the form of an integer. So for example, we have int x equals 3 divided by 4. The operator here is this division symbol, and the operands are 3 and 4. When Java looks at these two operands, it assumes that both of them are integers. That's because 3 is a whole number and 4 is a whole number. So it's going to do integer division. Integer division means it's going to remove whatever the decimal would have been here. So if we do 3 divided by 4, the result of the integer division here is going to be 0 instead of 0.75. It's going to remove that extra piece after the decimal. So instead of being 0.75, it's just going to be 0 once we get the result here, and then we're going to plug that 0 into our variable x. Even if we were to say double x is 3 divided by 4, it's still not going to give us our 0.75. Why? Because it looks at 3 and it looks at 4, and these are two integers. It's going to see them as whole numbers. So it's going to do that integer division. It's going to get a 0. And then once we put it in a double, Java is going to say, hey, this was supposed to be a double, but we got 0. So let's just add a decimal here. And instead of adding the correct 0.75 decimal, it's going to add a 0. It's going to make it a decimal by saying 0.0. So it divides 3 by 4. The answer to this is 0. And then we go ahead and put it in a double. So it's going to change that 0 to be a decimal, which would be 0.0. There are a few ways to fix this issue, and I said this issue results from Java seeing two integers as your operands. So the way to fix it is to make one, the other, or both of our operands be of a decimal type. And remember, decimal types are any irrational number, so that includes double type and float data type. So here we see the way we can trick Java into seeing these values as a decimal is by adding a decimal here. So 3 is the same thing as saying 3.0, but if we add the 0.0, then Java knows we're not referring to this as a whole number, but we're looking at this as a decimal number. So you can make this first one be a decimal, 3.0 divided by 4, and that'll give you your 0.75. Since this is a double, it'll keep the 0.75, and we don't do integer division here, so it's perfect. Likewise here, you can change this value instead of the first one, either or, as long as one of them or both are of a decimal type, then we are good. So here we have the example of both. These last three examples show us using casting. So casting sort of does the same thing as this. So what we're doing here is saying 3 and treat it as a double. Here we're saying 3, treat it as a double, 4, also treat it as a double, and down here we have float, and we're treating it as float. Additionally, there could be float 3 divided by 4, or 3 divided by float 4, and that would work as well. Remember, the data type here has to match what we're returning here. So if we have 3.0 divided by 4, it's going to give us a 0.75. We can't put 0.75 into a data type of integer because integers only accept whole numbers. So you will get an error if you have int x equals some sort of decimal here.